To this day, call me Cousin Dan. And I was Bruce Morrow. Until the fateful night, Dick, we had a contest. Remember when Jesus Christ Superstar opened up? Well, ABC and we got something like 2,000 seats. We had the whole auditorium, the whole theater on Broadway. And in the theater was all the big executives and big wigs of ABC. And my dear friend Leonard Goldenson, who was the loveliest, nicest man. He's the kind of man who comes across the street to say, hey, Cousin Brucie, how you doing? Lovely man. Well, Leonard Goldenson sitting with his vice president and the vice's vice president, and the vice is having vice with some other vice president, things like that. And the Jesus Christ Superstar goes through, and there's the intermission. Well, I'm sitting with Rick and the other people, and Leonard Goldenson's about 20 rows in front. He turns around, stands up, and looks at me, and the theater's, the Lord is speaking. This guy, he's tremendous. There's certain people when you walk into a room, there's magic. You know what I'm saying. This man has magic. He gets up and he says, Leonard Goldenson says to me, hey, Cousin Brucie, isn't this terrific? Well, the next morning, I go into Rick's office, and Rick says to me, Bruce, you think we were a little too premature? Taking Cousin Brucie. Well, Cousin Brucie returned to the air that night.
And you're still Cousin Brucie.
Yeah, that'll be that. That's being carved on the stone, let me tell you. There's no two ways about it. I love it. And, I feel it. I feel like Cousin Brucie. I am Bruce Morrow, the man, but I'm also Cousin Brucie. I am.
It's a very lovely experience. My TV special, and we are about to produce another series of 4. We just about sold our company. We have a company called Morrow Communications. And it's housed up in our radio station now in Middletown, New York. Yeah, we bought, by the way, I own an armory now? We bought an armory. Yeah. My radio station, WALL, is in Middletown, New York. We serve Orange County, Sullivan County, Ulster, Rockland, a piece of Bergen. It's quite a little station.
Pretty country.
We bought an armory to house, have an armory to house this particular radio station. The armory was built in 1891. And it is the most beautiful armory. We just had it completely decorated. We painted
echo chamber.
Oh, you should see this place. We have all kinds of studios. And we have a huge amount of room to build because Bob and I are building television facilities because we are very involved in television production. So we have this. I have a gym. I have a gym floor where the troops used to match. I have a gym that can hold 3,000 troops. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have concerts there or form my own National Guard in case of emergency. You see, I'm not sure. I've always wanted my own army, you see. We have basements and firing ranges. You should see that. That's right. That's right. The Army's Army. Well, I hear stories about that character. I miss him once in a while. I think about it.
I was on his TV show last summer.
Yeah.
And he was very, very straight. I thought he had a pretty good show going.
I never saw the show.
Yeah, I did, and I watched it a few times, and I thought he did very well.
Well, television's not very rough. To translate a personality into television very rarely works.
Some of the other DJs you worked with. Now, you worked with a lot of guys. You talked a little bit about Murray. Some of the other guys. Did you ever work with Alan Freed?
No, Alan. Listen, when I was a kid, I used to listen to Alan Freed. Alan and I met several times, and we used to go to parties together towards the end of his career, which is a very sad story. And I really have, besides the happy memories of Alan Freed broadcasting from his pool in Connecticut, as you know, that's what he did towards, and when he was in his Connecticut, as you know, that's what he did towards, and when he was in his heyday, Alan Freed would not come into New York City. He used to live in Connecticut. I don't remember where, Stamford or something, and he used to have a pool, and his engineer would go out there every day, and his producer, and he used to broadcast right from the pool. And there's a mensch, boy, there's a star. And this is how he used to do the thing. Alan and I became friendly towards the end of his career. When he left ABC, he was opposite me. I was on ABC. What the heck was he on? I was on IN. I went on IS. We went over to ABC, I believe. Then he went on Channel 5 television. And then, of course, he started slipping pretty badly. And he, unfortunately, got himself involved with alcoholic beverages. And, of course, the rest is history. Towards the end of my career at ABC, which is 13 years, I was getting very tired of it. Very tired of ABC. And, I cannot knock ABC. It was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, And towards the end, the last few days, when I really wanted to get out of there, and there's a classic story how I got out of my contract there. Well, that's in the book. That is one for the book. There's a legal shenanigan you wouldn't believe. Anyway, I was talking to Perry Bascom very secretly. Because, you just don't, when you're under contract to somebody else, you don't try to sign a contract with them. There's some kind of illegality. It's just, you just don't do it. And I remember I used to meet with the executives from NBC Radio. They used to meet me on 49th Street and 5th Avenue, and they used to say, all right, follow us down the block. This is all right. It was like a movie. And I used to follow Perry and the program director of the day, and we used to go down the street and go into an Italian restaurant in the corner, and we used to talk. And we made a deal. And I got out of my ABC contract. And Wolfman was let go. They brought him in, of course, which is the greatest thing that ever happened in my career, as you remember. They brought Wolfman in to destroy Cousin Brucie. But Wolfman is not a New Yorker. See, this is a state. Yeah, but he's not.
That's the point. He's not on the air.
No, that's right.
Right.
Wolfie is not. He's a terrific talent.
He's from Brooklyn.
He's from Brooklyn, but he's not a New Yorker on the air.
Yeah.
He's not a personality from New York. And he and I met, and I didn't know what to expect. Well, it was the day before I was to come to NBC, and Wolf was still on, right? And we never met. We talked on the phone. Bobby Massell, bless his heart, who still works here, one of the nicest guys. He's one of the engineers at NBC staff. Said, Bruce, come on up. I'd like you to meet Wolf. I said, nah, I don't want to meet him. You know, I don't want to go in there. And Bob looks at me and says, hey, I love you. Isn't that weird? He said, I love you. And he held me tight. And he says, I just want you to know there's no hard feelings. I tried. And I had a good time, and I'm going home where I belong. I love you, man. Anytime he just lets me go, sits down, and we looked at each other, we talked for a while. And I found him to be the most charming, soft-spoken,
very
nice-mannered guy, you know, that you can meet.
Very classy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be.
Yes.
Who are some of the other guys who really make a difference in this town, you think?
Ted Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to speak about talent. Yes, there's the talent. There is to me, the talent. Dan Ingram, my friend Dan Ingram. You know, there's the guy. There's a fantastic, brilliant guy. Brilliant guy. He's a guy that can take a format that is like you might as well have chains around you and make it viable and make it sing and make it exciting and dynamic. Dan Ingram's brilliant. Ron Lundy, Harry Harrison. I mean, look at these guys. Chuck Leonard. These guys have been there. You know, it's history being made. Yeah, but they're going to be... I teach courses at NYU. I don't do it any longer. I don't have the time, but I'm going to be doing things up there. I've always been a student of radio. I've always been interested in radio because someday I knew I was going to own a radio station when I grew up. I never grew up.
And now
I'm
you
still
grew
Peter
up.
Pan. But I am a student of FCC law, and I study constantly. Dick, I go home and I read my book, and I constantly look and see what is happening. You have to.
Yeah.
I'm a serious guy
It's a
down
totally
here.
different perspective.
Oh,
I know you're a serious
I'm a serious guy. You know, I'm a
Exactly.
businessman down below this my cousin Brucie, my character, which I really love, and I really am. It's not a phony, but I'm a serious man underneath.
Well, of course.
And I think most people who know me will tell you that.
Sure. But it is different sitting in the executive office from sitting behind a microphone. It's a totally different thing.
Absolutely.
Hello, you're on New York 97, WYNY.
Hi there, buddy. How are you?
That sounds like Ray.
That's Ray Palucha, right?
Oh, Paluch! How you doing?
What do you mean what I'm doing? I'm working my tuchus off. That's
Your
like
tuchus?
you guys are doing.
Hey, Ray, I came up here, I swear, I thought I'd have apples and oranges and things that you used to bring up all the time. This gentleman was a very dear friend, well, still is a dear friend, and he represents the American Polish people, and he comes up all the time with oranges. Do you still do that, Ray?
I sure do.
You taking care of Dick Summer here?
Oh, yes. Now
Last of the original good guys?
yes, I switched to books and other things because I want Dick to be the number uno in the city.
I hope you miss me a little bit.
I do miss you, but I got something to tell you.
Yeah.
From a market research point of view. An awful lot of my family listen to you because they live in Middletown.
Right.
And they live in Liberty and those areas. They're former people from Bronx who listen to you on WINS and when you were at NBC. And I listen to Dick Summer most of the time, you know, because I'm sitting over here. And one of these days, I have a American Legion Children's Camp that I'm the register, and I'm going to one of these days bring 60 or 70 kids over there. You can interview them. The camp is about 40 years old over there.
Where is the camp, Ray?
Bloomberg.
Oh, that's right in our broadcast area.
That's in your broadcast.
Oh, look, Ray, you know, and you know me long enough to know how sincere I am. Anytime you are a friend of mine. Anytime you want, you have anything I own, you can come up and visit.
You're sure a nice guy because all I have to tell you is that you really gave the Polish people a break by taking me under your wing, so Dick Summers, and with our prayers go to you, and I wish all the success in the world to you and Dick because you're beautiful people.
Thank you, Ray.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it very much.
And trust, you know that. The owners of this station, my station, my partner and I, we have a public trust. The air, the station itself, not the physical thing. The physical thing is just a bunch of microphones and cable. That doesn't mean anything. Anybody can get that. But the license is owned by the public, and I'm holding that license in trust for the public. I must watch what is going on with the public. I have to do things in the public interest, and I have to be very involved and concerned with the public, which is very simple to me because I really am.
Yeah,
I really am.
That's one of the really interesting things. Usually public service is something that a lot of the broadcasters say, you know, it's Sunday morning. But when it gets down to it, I think that's the element that is going to save radio at this point from becoming an endless jukebox.
Right.
That's what this station is
Yeah,
doing.
that's a
as public
terrible thing you
service.
just said, but that's one of my night. When I get nightmares.
We got
That's
a
it.
guy. We got a guy on now on Monday nights who's talking about how you can be successful. Kind of an amorphous thing, but good stuff. All right, dress for success, this kind of stuff. We got a guy on Tuesday nights, and he's telling you how you can stash your money a little better, so the other guys can't take it away quite as fast. Stan and but I'm glad. Actually, what Ray was doing, what Brucie was doing there was not necessarily being a nice guy. He was doing what a radio station is supposed to do. And if this is a situation that happens in his broadcast area, he is supposed to be concerned with that kind of thing.
Absolutely. The radio station belongs. We just have the license and trust. You know that. The owners of this station, my station, my partner and I, we have a public trust. The air, the station itself, not the physical thing. The physical thing is just a bunch of microphones and cable. That doesn't mean anything. Anybody can get that. But the license is owned by the public, and I'm holding that license in trust for the public. I must watch what is going on with the public. I have to do things in the public interest, and I have to be very involved and concerned with the public, which is very simple to me because I really am.
Yeah,
I really am.
That's one of the really interesting things. Usually public service is something that a lot of the broadcasters say, it's Sunday morning. But when it gets down to it, I think that's the element that is going to save radio at this point from becoming an endless jukebox.
Right.
That's what this station is doing.
That's a terrible thing you just said, but that's one of my night. When I get nightmares.
We got a guy on now on Monday nights who's talking about how you can be successful. Kind of an amorphous thing, but good stuff. All right, dress for success, this kind of stuff. We got a guy on Tuesday nights, and he's telling you how you can stash your money a little better, so the other guys can't take it away quite as fast. Stan and Floss Dworkin.
Well, they're friends of mine from the Center 4.
They're the Roots people.
Do they still have dirty fingernails from the dirt they dig constantly?
Well, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. But in any event, they're up there.
He gave her poison ivy once for her wedding anniversary.
Growing plants and such. Then Thursday night, we got a doctor on. Dr. Lynn, he's talking about stuff. They're not radio people. They're not professional voices. But they're in here doing a number. And it's a good thing. Friday night, Margaret Jones is on. I would listen to Margaret Jones if she was talking to
Is this Margaret Jones, the same Margaret Jones as our traffic manager?
Margaret, wait, we got anything? Yeah.
Is that Margaret Jones? Tell me this.
Yes, it is. But you don't know Margaret Jones as the voice. And if Steve is going to get the thing that I think he's going to get, you'll hear what I'm talking about. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Okay, hello, you're on New York 97, WYNY.
Hi, Dick.
Hi there.
I just wanted to comment on the early days of, I guess, the competition between WMCA and...
How old are you, sir?
How old am I?
Yes.
27 right now. But I remember, I guess, from, I'd say, around 1964 on, and the big competition between WABC and WMCA and the good guys and the All-Americans. And it was very interesting to me because I felt like a certain loyalty.
Who are you loyal to?
Well...
Careful.
Come on now. You won't hurt me. Go ahead.
I listened to your show at night, but during the day I was in...
Oh! You're a student of...
a politician.
The Diplomatic School of New York. But isn't that great what you said? I think that's terrific. Terrific.
I don't know if people listen to one station all the time where they switched around. I found myself constantly switting around,
Do you think that people today have a loyalty to a station like we had? Oh, sure, you listen to Dick every night.
Yeah.
But do you think people or young people have the loyalty that we had in those days? Oh, I'm a cousin Brucie listener, and people would really feel that they were cheating, like on their wives if they listened to an MCA if they were a Brucie fan.
Exactly. I don't think that exists today.
No.
It's not around anymore.
Why do you think it doesn't exist?
Well, it's because, like you were mentioning before, there's more stations in the market. FM brought into play 4 or 5 more stations, you know?
I think it goes a little further than that. Besides the number of stations, I think there's something that we're trying to get across here. That
personalized.
Right, the lack of personality, the lack of this humanism in radio.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
Well, let's put it this way. I should pull back. Let me pull back. Let me restate that. The lack of humanism in contemporary type radio, music type radio, you know, the DJ type thing, the friend of the family, because there are very fine personalities on stations like WOR and stations that try to do things on the air like they're doing here. Experimental, I don't care what you call it. It's beautiful. So there are some stations that are really trying, but it doesn't have that dynamicism, that dynamic thing that it used to have in the old days. I keep saying the old days. Old days, what is it, 1800? It was a handful of years ago, that's all.
Yeah, there was a lot of energy running through, it just seems that everything was going, from the jingles, they were like jingles that would get you excited, and it was very exciting,
I miss it, and I know, I'd say we took a survey, I'm sure most of the audience misses it. Everyone used to put down AM radio and put down the jingles and put down the silliness and the fun. But I guarantee if there was a station came back like that, I mean, a real sincere, honest-to-goodness station like that, I think it would do pretty well. I really do.
Yeah, I think it would, too. I mean, I'm a guy who had, like, maybe 4 or 5 good guy sweatshirts. I
hope you washed them.
I still have a couple in the closet. I used to send away for the top 100 hits from ABC. Sure. And, in fact, I have one from 1966, and they had the pictures on the front.
Keep it. It's going to be worth a lot of money. You know those tombstones that when they brought Wolfman Jack in, it said Cousin Brucie's Day's a Number, which was the greatest thing ever happened in my career? Do you know what those things? What they did is they sent about 300 or 400 of those tombstones, NBC did, to all the advertising agencies, little desk things, paperweights. And they delivered a real life-size one to ABC, which is a very famous picture. And they left it on the steps of ABC at 6 in the morning, and there's pictures of guards coming, the security guards at ABC, and the African Americans going, what in the hell is this? You know, they didn't know what to do with it. The general manager of ABC, there's a great story, came up, drove his car, parked in the garage, and came up, and on the steps, surrounded by security officers, Cousin Brucie's tombstone, 6 feet tall. He went berserk, grabbed a crowbar, and started whacking it on the steps, went berserk. They had to restrain the poor man. These little tombstones, paperweights, are now worth $45 to $60 if they have my signature on them.
Really?
Memorabilia shops.
Well, I remember that when they, it was a kind of
fun
pressure.
days.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Thank you for your call.
Okay,
Take her easy, bye now. I want you to hear the new Margaret Jones.
Oh, thank you, Dick. Oh, Dick. Oh, thank you. Thank you again.
So, you see, you may have known her in a different incarnation.
No, I didn't. That's exactly how I did know her. But with me, she did it if she wasn't on coverage. I mean, that's what I want to tell you.
That's a Valentine present. She came in here to this studio and did that live.
Very pretty gal. Very pretty gal. But I really, I just did not know her as a talent. I knew her as a traffic manager who was always in tears.
Well,
most traffic managers are.
There was a lot of that in those days, but she is a very talented lady. But there's a lot of fun on this station right now. Okay. Oh, WYNY New York. You wanted that, didn't you? Hello, you're on New York 97, WYNY.
Good evening, Dick. How are you?
Good.
I just... Supermouth.
Yes, sir. Hey, I got a good buddy out there. Yeah, good buddy. It's so on Supermouth. He'll rat you, John, on the Big Y.
That's right. This is a Desert Fox from the Garden State.
Yeah, how you doing, Desert Fox? This is CB Fox.
Here.
Pardon me?
Long time no here.
Yeah, well, I've been sort of running my rig up and down the quick way and Route 70 between here and the dirty side,
And 4. Listen, I just, Dick, I'd like to share a little experience I had with Brucie back in '76. They were taping a syndicated TV show called Behind the Scenes then, and I was able to have the honor of interviewing Cousin Brucie as the high school senior. And I sat there, I was shaking in my boots, I tell you. But I tell you, this man made it so easy for me, and it was just the greatest experience of my life. After the half hour of taping, he sat there for another hour and we discussed music, radio, everything. He was just a tremendous guy. And in fact, he helped me get into NYU, which I am presently at now, and I'm trying to get into communications myself.
Well, you just did a good job of starting. What channel do they listen to on the road you take a lot?
Well, Channel 19, most of us are on 19. Yeah, it's still on the road, it's 19. But
there's some other ones around here.
Well, yeah, you go into 13, you go, people go up to 21. The 40 channel rigs just never went, and that was just a big bomb. So everyone still stays in 21, 20, 19. And what do you want, Desert Fox?
Oh, we're on Channel 7 here in New Jersey. But do you remember I sent you those brochures that time of that campground in Mountaindale?
Listen to on the road you take a lot.
Well, Channel 19, most of us are on 19. Yeah, it's still on the road, it's 19. But
there's some other ones around here.
Well, yeah, you go into 13, you go, people go up to 21. The 40 channel rigs just never went, and that was just a big bomb. So everyone still stays in 21, 20, 19. And what do you want, Desert Fox?
Oh, we're on Channel 7 here in New Jersey. But do you remember I sent you those brochures that time of that campground in Mountaindale, where they monitor Channel 18 for the campers.
Right.
And they have a big service up there.
That's fun.
Come over once.
Yep.
I teach horseback riding there in the summer, and it's a great place, and we're really close to Middletown.
Well, I hope you come up and visit.
I will, definitely. And thanks again, and really, I hope I'm able to achieve something in communication that both you and Dick have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Desert Fox.
3s and 8s to you, Desert Fox.
Bye-bye.
Hypnotist signing off. Hello, you're on New York 97, WYNY.
Hello, Dad?
Oh, what?
Yes.
Dick
what?
with me.
It's John Morrow. Hi.
Oh, Dad, my son. How you doing, John? When you said Dad, we both looked at each other.
When somebody says Dad, I answer automatically.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Did you finish your homework?
Yeah.
All right. John and I, just before we came here, I dropped my son off at home. We went down to the Chinese section of New York City, had a delicious dinner. May I ask what you're doing up so late, young man?
Listening to you.
You are? Well, what's happening?
Nothing much.
Yeah? You enjoying the conversation?
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't miss it for anything.
Did you know your father was so famous and so loved?
Better answer carefully, kid.
Yeah, it's funny. John, my son was brought up in this showbiz type environment, and people always ask me, they go, well, how do your children feel about having a famous father, etc.? The kids are like, like everybody else's kids. It's like, you know, your kids. The great story. And John, you hold on for a second. Great story about Dan Ingram. This is a great story.
He has 18 kids, by the way.
3,000. I don't know. I don't even think he counts them. He's given up a long time ago. Ingram brings his kids up to watch Cousin Brucie one night, and he was on before me, and I followed. And he goes out with his wife, and the kids stay with. I love people in the. I've always loved Studio Audience. I never like to be alone in the studio. I get lonely. And the kids are there. About 5 or 6 of Ingram's kids are there, and they're all happy. And finally, Dan comes back to take the kids out, goes to another room, and he comes back and calls me up on the phone. He says, "You're not going to believe what the kids just said to me." Dan, it's so great meeting a real disc jockey.
Yeah, last time I met your son, he was starting a newspaper.
He's always involved in something. John was literally born on the radio. Can I give everyone your real name, or you don't want me to?
All right.
All right. See, his name is John now. When John was born, always being on, we called him Dana John, which is DJ. When John was born, when DJ was born in the hospital, in Doctor's Hospital in New York City, he was born literally on the radio because it was announced as a bulletin on the air. And John received 30,000 welcoming to the earth greetings to that hospital. And he's quite a boy. He goes to Stuyvesant High School now, and well, John, don't listen to this. He's a brilliant kid. And he's a terrific boy, and I'm looking forward to him being in the business.
John, he just wants you to mow the lawn and wash the car, and it's a big con, John. Nice talking to you. Take it easy.
John, I'll see you tomorrow night, sweetheart.
All right, bye.
I love you. Bye-bye. He's a good boy.
That's a good boy.
I'm very proud of him. I have 3 children, by the way. John is going to be 15, and I have a daughter 12, and I have my little Mary, Meredith, 7 years old. Good kids. Good, beautiful kids. Look like their father. Adorable.
Oh, that's too bad. Hello, you're on New York 97, WYNY.
Hello, Dick?
Yeah, hi.
Excuse me if I sound a little funny. I have a nasty cough.
That's perfectly all right. Just let it sit, and we'll take good care of it.
Okay. I'd like to ask Bruce, do you have such a great sense of humor off the air as you do on the air?
Well, you know, very frankly, I think this you'd have to probably ask other people. I'd say I'm very natural on the air, and yeah.
That way, very, yeah.
I am very relaxed. I've learned a long time ago how to use radio and talk to people, not at them. And I'd say, yeah, I have a great sense of humor. I love life, and I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy. Well, hey, listen, I have my moments of deep depression. I get angry. I get bitchy at times, you know. But most of the time, I'm a happy-go-lucky guy who's, you know, pretty happy with life.
I knew it. And
Thank you.
would also like to ask, would any of you ever consider hosting a telethon show if you were asked? Because I think you would both be great hosts.
Well, he does it all the time.
I do it all the time. I'm tired.
Do you?
Well, yeah, I do telethons all the time. In fact, I just did one 2 weeks ago for the Lions. And it's fed on the Earth satellite all over. It came from Jersey, from Seton Hall. And I'm constantly involved with, what's that big word that Perry Bascom used to use all the time? It means
Pirate.
charity. Beautiful. That's the right. No, what was the word? It means charitable work. He used to love that. Some kind of a $25 word.
He never used it on me.
No, he used it on me all the time. I never knew what it meant. Anyway, yes, we both get involved in charitable organizations and work. All you do is give us a buzz, and I'm sure Dick feels the same as I do. You must be involved. Remember we talked about being involved a few moments ago? That is sincere. That is very sincere. Oh, if you're not involved, then you're not the personality, you're not the warm human being we just talked about, and then we're all phonies. You must be involved in this business.
Right. Okay, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you both.
Thank you. That's sweet.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it was nice. Well, you're on New York 97, WYNY.
Yeah, hi, Dick. I'm going to bring up something that you really haven't been talking about too much as far as radio is concerned, and that's not the music end of it, that's the talk end of it. Whatever has happened to, and why don't they bring back more of the old radio dramas?
Because they were terrible.
NEW is currently doing it, and OR had it before, the old CBS drama. And I think there's some conversation now as far as drama on MCA. But this is an area that really could be brought out more to the public. I remember as a kid, the old OX-1 and Inner Sanctum and so on. I think it could be a great thing, and nobody's touching these today.
Yeah, that's happened, and the problem with it is if you listen to those things in any way objectively, they were badly done, and they would not fit in with the current situation, I think, in the 1979, 1980 era. If people would take the time and effort to come up with some genuine new production, and this is not to knock the CBS Mystery Theater, which is done very, very well, and it's a good thing, it's a good idea. But to be very honest about it, it is being run by some of the same people who ran the early dramas on radio, and it's done the same way, and some of the same people who are on them are on this, And I think the basic problem is there just is not enough money in radio at this point
That's it.
to really mount the kind of writing and rehearsal and all of those things that need to be done in order to produce good radio drama. It could be done, certainly it could be done. But it needs to be done on a larger scale, I suppose, than it's being done. It's been being done on the side of things.
The bottom line is money, Dick, absolutely right. And unfortunately, we in the radio industry have spoiled each other by putting things on the air that do not cost too much money.
Sure.
Like, I'll go even a step further, sir, besides the dramas. What happened to the old orchestras? We used to have live orchestras and bands here. We used to do live music. Expense, money. Now it's needle time. That's what they call it over in, or maybe needle time here in the United States means something else than what it means in England. In England to this day, in the BBC, you only allow 50% or thereabouts of needle time, which means actual playing records. The rest has to be live music and or drama. We don't have that here because of economics. We just couldn't afford it. And now, like Dick just said, sure, it'd be beautiful if it was done properly. But it will never be done properly because we've spoiled each other by putting things on the air that we can get away with the least amount of money. The idea of a radio station is to get the most amount of people listening at one time as possible for the least amount of money. That's what it really boils down to, which is too bad. Maybe maybe someday PBS or something will come on the air and they'll have themselves a budget to put on drama. I would like to hear it because I love radio more than anything because years ago we used to be able to use our imaginations, but if it's not done right, like Dick said, we have a bunch of borscht.
Well, to be honest with you, I miss that kind of stuff. I remember it as when I was much younger. I'm 33 now, but towards the end of it, the Inner Sanctum period, I guess I was about, 7, 8 years old when they finally went off the air. And it's a vehicle. Now, you mentioned before that to the blind, radio is primetime television. And I really feel that here's an entire area that they are missing.
Are you aware of what's happening with the, speaking of the blind, it's kind of interesting. On FM stations, there's something called a subcarrier, right? Which is like another side road. Say if you look at a transmission pattern as roads, right? And they use a left channel and the right channel. There's another little road on the side of these things that most FM stations either do not use or use for these Muzak systems, etc. There are organizations all over the nation, we're involved with one too up in our station, that are taking these subcarriers and using them to transmit information, drama, people reading newspapers, telling people where to go shopping for the blind. And they are put on special receivers that are usually supported by the Lions and given to blind people. And the actual broadcasting are done by people in libraries or organizations that support that. There's an organization in New Jersey called EYES, Electronic Information Service. The one I am involved with, I named up in Orange and Sullivan County called BLISS, Blind Listeners Information Service Station. And they use these subcarriers, and it's used for blind people. And it's beautiful. I mean, it really is nice. It's like, it's radio for information. But your question is just a matter of dollars, which is unfortunately always the bottom line, and that's where it always ends.
The economics always is.
The wall is there, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Do you feel that our station, like 97, is the type of vehicle where this could be used? Because I think we've got the kind of listener who might be really interested.
But they couldn't afford it. Yes, there's no doubt. I mean, I would have, but I don't think they could afford to